Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your regular injection of mind-numbing local news. My name is Alex, and joining us, as always, is Rob. How you doing there, Rob? Are you feeling better? Because I think when we recorded the extra, you were feeling a bit under the weather. The Patreon episode, you were feeling under the weather.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I think I'm slightly sleep deprived. Lyra unfortunately isn't particularly well, which is for listeners who do very kindly support us on Patreon. She's picked up something from nursery and is now on antibiotics, so to try and clear that. So she sleeps sporadically throughout the night, and also we've woken up and it's one of those kind of. It's not cold, but it's just wet and drizzly. It's just one of those miserable autumnal mornings. Well, it's kind of morning where you just want to...
The temperature has dipped today. I mean, from when we're recording sort of in advance of releasing this episode, but like yesterday was boiling. Do you remember? And then today it's like dipped again. Yesterday I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I mean, in October when we're hitting 21 degrees, that is insane. That is not normal. Yeah, but then today is sort of back to your sort of average autumnal day where you just want to go and lie down in a darker room and just shut everything out.
Now, Rob,
maybe that's just me.
Really, we've forgotten. Here's the issue, listeners. Rob and I record these episodes in advance, not months in advance or anything like that. It's like a week or so, right? But the problem is that then we didn't think, Rob, that we normally like to do a sort of... Oh, we did do a Halloween-themed episode, didn't we? We had Yeah, we did, because it had spooky music.
We did have stories, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, good,
yeah.
Good, I'm pleased. Do we have any...
We're okay, Alex. We're a bit... You know, in that respect, we were ahead of the curve.
Do you have any news, Rob?
Yeah. Well, only the thing I sent to you, and now I realise this is a Patreon extra item that's been sent in. Now, Kaiba, I do apologise. I don't know what's happening with the feed of the group, and sometimes I'm sure it shows me these stories that in random orders because I missed this when I first scrolled through them, but anyway, let's not get into that. But on the Patreon episode, so for those who obviously I know that obviously people don't always support us on Patreon, so we basically had a Patreon extra episode, so an LA extra episode that was entitled "Another Nutcase Trying to Earn a Few Quid," and on that episode we talked about AI, and also there's at the moment there's a lot of probably in the last couple of months actually there's been a lot of buzz about these sort of AI generated images. And we suggested that maybe we should run some of the episode titles through. And Kai was very kindly done that for that particular LA Extra episode. And it's bizarre what it's created. I mean, it's almost like a sentient suitcase, I think is what it's tried to create. And it seems to be like pushing a wad of cash. It's really very surreal.
It's quite disturbing. Rob there's mentioning the Patreon. Rob and I, as well as this, this podcast which we release for free. We also have LAPodcast and Extra Jab, which is basically bi-weekly, just like this episode, but they're up on Patreon, patreon.com/LAPodcast Extra. You can find the link on our website, lapodcast.net, and from there you can sign up and become a Patreon member and get 2 episodes of that to your inbox every month, and we're well into the 30s now with that, aren't we, Rob? I think we've done 33, 34 episodes of that, and yes, I remember talking about that. I'd be interested, Kaiba, if you're listening, take some other random episode titles and run it through, and so I'd love to see, like, anybody who's got the time, I'd love somebody to do every episode title we've ever had of all the podcasts and collage the images. Can you imagine what that would look like? And imagine, Rob, if somebody did that and the collage of images just looked like your face.
I mean, if that were the case, Alex, I think then we know that ultimately the world as we know it is coming to an end. And it'd be interesting because that would imply that maybe it's me that's brought about the demise of humanity.
I always suspect.
Which I've always suspected. Yeah. But I would love to, and maybe I might do it in my spare time. The other thing I want to mention very briefly is the fact that something came up, something twigged in the back of my mind. There's something that we discussed the feature, but then, as always, never did it.
Was it that love? Was it the train, the metro, tube train thing?
Well, it was no. This is it. Strangely, it is related to that. So do you remember, it was many months ago, probably about 6-7 months ago, maybe not even this year, because, we can never remember these things, but we talked about you challenging me to identify stations on... no, no. Stations on a tube line. So you said, I'm going to pick a line, I'm going to test your knowledge of the underground. Now, I
never did that.
I would like to put that... No, I'd like to put that back on the table. I'm willing to do that. But so what I'd say is, if you want to do it, you need to give me the line... or at least, you can't even give me the line.
How does this work? Sorry, what am I meant to do? So I give you like what I say. I say like Baron's Court, and then what? What are you meant to do with that? I think
what you would say is you'd say, let's say you go Victoria Line southbound. So you'd start with Walthamstow Central, Black Horse Road, Tottenham Hale, Seven Sisters, Finsbury Park.
Okay. So we're doing a live online autism test. Is that what you're saying? And also, here's the other question: why are we doing this? Is this meant to? Because what we need to think about with the features is: will the listeners enjoy them? What enjoyment, what pleasure is to be taken for a listener in listening to you name the tube line, name the tube stops on a line, unless they're really also into train lines, Rob.
Maybe they can tell us after we've run the feature, Alex. So ultimately, this isn't for them.
This popped into your head because what? You thought to yourself, oh, I remember that. I want the challenge. Is that what it was, Rob?
I was doing a quality check on one of the episodes, and I happened to be on the tube at the time, and for some reason it just twigged. I don't know why.
Right, I see. Maybe we should do that on the Patreon.
Right. Okay,
we'll do it on the Patreon. The reason I'm saying we'll do it on the Patreon is if we suddenly notice a huge influx of subscribers, we'll know that this is a feature people want to hear, Rob.
Right. Yeah. Right, okay.
Rob, can we get?
I feel there's a subtext here.
No, there's no subtext. Can we get on with this? Because I've got a very, 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 very important update for us, Rob.
Okay.
Now, Rob, we have. I don't know. I look forward to the day, Rob. A bit like the Croydon cat killer. I kind of look forward to the day now where we'll no longer be covering this. But you will remember Rob Gimp Man from Somerset. And I think the last story I covered about Gimp Man, you were sort of an apologist, really, for Gimp Man, saying he wasn't really doing anybody any harm. And then there was some poor woman who said, actually, she's been in therapy for years because of the PTSD experienced by a man jumping out of the bushes in a latex Gimp outfit in a sleepy Somerset village late at night. But as you said, he's not doing anybody any harm.
No, Alex, I said that there was isolated incidents. The most recent occurrence was the fact that he jumped out, and as the police, I believe, said, that he hadn't actually committed any crime. And if you actually remember, the last time we featured the Gimp Man was actually my story, because we had the Gimp Man of Essex, who was actually going out and trying to raise money for a local mental health charity.
That was the good
benevolent.
Gimp. That was the good Gimp, not the bad Gimp, Rob. You'll know this is in the world in this Gimp mythology, which this new Gimp mythology is dualistic, Rob. There's the good Gimp and there's the bad Gimp, and this story is about the bad Gimp.
You can't have one without the other, Alex. There has to be a yin and yang.
Well, this is by Jamie Hawkins from the Somerset Live. It's published on the 26th of October 2022. Headline, Rob: Man arrested after numerous Gimp sightings in Somerset.
Right. So this very much is the bad Gimp. I mean, it was all around Somerset. So, okay. So it's obviously the same guy, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Police say they're keeping an open mind as to whether an incident which led to an arrest is connected with numerous sightings of a man wearing a, in quotes, Gimp suit in Somerset. At 1 a.m. on Tuesday, October the 25th, a man who was wearing dark clothing and had his face fully covered was arrested, Rob, in Cleve.
Right. Okay.
There's a hyperlink to that. So, yes, here's the... Hang on a minute. Let me read you the original story, which was published on the same day. So this is before people have made the connection to it being potentially Gimp Man. Also from the Somerset Live. Right. Man arrested after, in quotes, rolling around on the floor and causing a public nuisance in Cleve. So this is the original story. A man has been arrested and since released on bail on suspicion of causing a public nuisance. He's reported to have rolled around on the floor, causing a public nuisance in the early hours. At 1 a.m. in the morning, the man who was wearing dark clothing and had his face fully covered is reported to have approached two men on Millier Road, Cleve. He's reported to have rolled around on the floor before he walked off towards Cleve Hill Road. Again, is that breaking the law? If I want to go out, Rob, wearing black black outfit and covering my face, let's say with a face mask, and I just roll around on the floor in front of a couple of people, what harm have I done? I mean, again, I don't want to be an apologist, but what harm have I done there?
It's a good point, Alex. I mean, if he wasn't causing any distress to any passers-by, I mean, yeah, obviously it's an odd sight, but I don't.
I've seen
really
worse,
know
Rob.
what
I mean, I live
in
southeast London, right? I mean, this is like, yeah, this would be.
That's par for the scores, yeah.
Well, no, this would be welcome sort of civilized behaviour. Officers attended with the assistance of the dog unit and a police helicopter. They went full, tank, Rob. They got a tank. It says here, military. No, kidding.
Let's be honest.
Rocket launcher.
Some say it's quite a sleepy county. I think it I don't know why. It reminds me of Hot Fudge. Hot Fudge? No, sorry, Hot Fuss.
Sorry, hang on a minute.
Is that the right name of
hang on a minute. Hot Fudge.
What's the name of the Simon Pegg film? It is Hot Fuss, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm more interested in the Freudian slip of Hot Fudge. Sounds sort of homoerotic.
I'm just hungry, that's all it is. No.
Can I say, why don't you and me form a band? Wasn't there a band called Hot Fudge?
No, there's Hot Chocolate.
That's what I'm thinking of. Hang on a minute, Rob. Hang on. Right, so our band, we've got two bands now, Fecal Matter and Hot Fudge. Yep. And I think the two might be connected. Hot Fudge. Hang on.
I imagine Fecal Matter is quite sort of, I can imagine it's quite sludgy metal. I don't know why, but Hot Fudge, I imagine it's more upbeat. It's more ska, if you ask me. A lot of trumpets, that kind of thing.
Rob, I'm just going to tell you now.
Not of the anus.
I'm going to tell you now, Rob, that Hot Fudge is slang for. I'm not even going to say.
Right. Okay.
Right. Anybody who wants to know, put in now Hot Fudge slang. It's not something I'm going to read out on the podcast.
I really wouldn't do that. My point, Alex.
Yeah,
it wasn't homoerotic and nothing to do with this. Is the fact that this is a sleepy Somerset village, and like the film Hot Fuss. They'll take any action they can. So they came down on this guy like a ton of bricks. You know, they called in every possible resource because, this is the most action they've seen in years, Alex.
Whilst the man has been released on bail, the conditions of his bail mean he is to remain home between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. and to present to a police officer on request. So he can't, okay? This is quite hard. Again, for just going out and rolling around on the floor and then you're given a curfew. No one has been...
So they put him under house arrest, effectively?
Yeah. Acting inspector, so I don't know what happened to the proper inspector, or presumably they were fired for some misdemeanour or retired, I don't know, but they're an acting inspector. Lee Kerslake,
he was a previous Gimp man.
Lee Kerslake, Rob takes that back, of the neighbourhood policing team said, we responded quickly to this report due to its similarity with other previous incidents which have caused significant alarm and distress to members of the public. No one has been physically harmed during any of these incidents, but we know they have caused concern to the local community, and we're determined to identify the individuals responsible and stop them. We continue to keep an open mind about the intentions of the man on Millier Road and whether the incident is linked to any others. And what he means, Rob, when he says that, is it linked to Gimp Man? That's what he means.
Of course.
And he says to reassure the community, we'll be carrying out extra patrols in the area, and anyone concerned about this or any other incident is encouraged to speak to an officer. And the arrest, for anybody who wants to know the background, the arrest follows multiple incidents in the area of a man wearing a, in quotes, gimp suit in recent years. And they started, Rob, in July 2019. Reports began to emerge of a grunting man dressed in black latex who was terrorising the villagers of Claverham. Earlier this year, a latex-clad gimp spooked residents in Yatton when he appeared wearing a mask near the Claverham roundabout. Lewis Webb, 21, and his girlfriend, Kiera, 19, were on their way home from a night out when the oddly dressed man approached them at around 1 a.m. They said he was 6 foot tall and so terrifying looking that they sprinted away to safety. Anyway, you know the story, Rob. We've been recording them in earnest on the podcast. Officers were called to Claverham on September the 1st again, but were unable to locate the man. The woman, who asked not to be named, told the BBC, I've got older children and even my kids are saying, in quotes, it's the Gimp Man again.
Right.
Mummy, it's the Gimp Man. Mummy, can I have a Gimp Man costume? I wonder, Rob, look, Halloween will have already occurred for listeners, but for us, Rob, it's going to be tomorrow as we record this. I wonder if the kids of that area are going to ask, Mummy, can I go out as Gimp Man? And can I ask, when I knock on the doors, can I ask for hot fudge?
I mean, they shouldn't be asking for that, Alex. That's wrong on so many levels. Who's to say this man wasn't just harmlessly out trick-or-treating? I mean, obviously it would have been a bit early, but, go prepared. We don't know what happened here. It feels like there's a lot of questions that haven't been answered for me.
Me and a friend of mine, Rob, I think he sometimes listens. I don't know if he still listens, but he used to. Tom, who now lives in Gloucester. We went trick-or-treating once, well into our teens. We just decided to go out and do it for a laugh. I think we were about 15, as I remember. And we caused quite a lot of... I remember it was a bit of a rampage, I'll be honest, but there were quite a lot of doors that we knocked on where you really did get weirdos who answered and invited you in, and with clearly not good intentions. It was quite frightening. So my advice would be, just knock the trick-or-treating on the head. Don't bother, you don't need to do it. Stay indoors. Well, Alex, do you do what I do, Rob, and sort of turn off the lights and pretend not to be in during Halloween?
Well, luckily we've got a front garden, so we just lock the gate. No one's coming in. Also, Alex, when you went trick or treating, it was the 90s. It was a different time back then. Yeah. People wouldn't understand that these days.
No, you're right. Okay, this isn't so much an update, Rob, but it's a story along a familiar theme for us on LA Podcast. Because we have featured many stories over these. Again, I'd love to have all these done in compendiums. Like, can you imagine? I know we don't have CDs anymore, but like a compendium CD of animal attacks, a compendium CD of do you know what I mean? Of people who've bought stuff from supermarkets where there's something wrong with it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, Rob,
alien abductions, that kind of thing.
Yeah, wouldn't it? You could literally have. It'd be great to have them all organised. Or how you and me both like order. Can you imagine? All the stories.
It'd be a beautiful thing.
I know.
I imagine it would be like
spreadsheet done. That would be amazing.
When I was younger, I used to collect I've never talked about this on the podcast, and I don't think we've ever talked about this either. I used to collect the Star Trek magazine, which was like one of those weekly publications. You used to get ring binders. You used to like put the pages in.
I remember very well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to love it because I used to have like the schematics of the different ships.
I bought the same with the Star Wars one, and you get these Star Wars schematics, and they'd fold out, and you could see.
That's exactly the same. Yeah, I imagine that the LA podcast story would be like that. Maybe with some sort. I hope there'd be a visual of. I don't know, someone getting attacked by a leopard, for instance, or a cheetah.
Well, I've said to you before, Rob, that if when civilization inevitably collapses, due to environmental, collapse or sort of nuclear war or whatever it is, I've said to you before, I think on the podcast, what if the only thing which really remained were the episodes of this podcast? Inevitably, whoever managed to scramble themselves together, any survivors to form a new civilization, would inevitably LA Podcast would become like their new religion. All our episodes would be canon. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. Also, I don't know. Would it be a good idea for us to contact the British Library and ask whether they'd like to put our podcast in their records, in their archives? Well,
it does. It does provide a useful, since 2012, sort of historical record of the banal, Rob.
Yeah. I feel it's in the national interest, personally.
So do I. Right, this is from the HuffPost. This is an animal attack story, Rob, I'm going to be honest. It's by Josephine Harvey.
Great.
Woman escapes bear attack by punching it in the face. Now, the last time we did time we did a story about a bear, Rob, we talked about you being buggered by a bear, didn't we, in the woods? And Faeces Strange mocked it up for us in one of the most disturbing creations he's ever done.
Well, it's the fact it's Yogi Bear. That's what makes it even more off-putting. But yeah, you can view that now on
watch Yogi Bear
on the Faeces Strange album via the Facebook. Yeah. No, I must admit, Yogi Bear now has a completely different meaning for me.
Yeah. A Washington State woman, it always seems to be in Washington State, escaped a bear attack outside her home with injuries on Saturday morning after she hit it in the face, according to a wildlife official. The unnamed woman in Leavenworth was charged by an adult female black bear. She was letting her dog out. The Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife said in a statement. She sustained non-life-threatening injuries and was taken to an area hospital. And the bear, Rob, was killed later that morning by wildlife officers, and 2 cubs were captured and taken to a wildlife rehabilitation facility, the statement said. Now, I, Rob, like to think that the wildlife rehabilitation facility is rather like Guantanamo Bay. It's re-education, isn't it? What's that? They take them there, they waterboard them, sort of sensory deprivation, everything, and they reprogram them, Rob, until they learn to say, "I love Big Brother."
Why did they feel they needed to kill the mother bear in this situation? Why could they not have just like tranquilized her and also then just taken her to this in quotes rehabilitation centre?
Bloodlust, pure and simple bloodlust. No, we'll get to the reason.
Right.
State wildlife biologist Rich Busolel told Seattle's King TV that the woman made the right call by attacking the bear after she was knocked to the ground. He said she didn't see it coming, so she could not make herself big, clap her hands, yell at the bear, wave her arms, all the things we usually tell people to do. So if we've talked about before, Rob, we've talked about, haven't we, how to survive a bear attack? You're meant to make yourself big, clap your hands,
yes.
Yell at the bear, wave your arms, or your way, your preferred method, which is just basically to be very submissive and let the bear have its way with you.
Yeah, have sex. Saw yourself and then just
please don't kill me. Just take me instead, and we'll spend a beautiful night together under the trees.
Exactly.
If the bear knocks you down, then yes, your solution is to fight. It was just instinct for her, he added. She turned around and popped it right in the nose. The woman reportedly told authorities that after she hit the bear, it, in quotes, shook and took off.
Right. Do you feel she's talking her part up in this? Do you think the bear shook, or did it just feel slightly dazed and then just wander off? Was she trying to imply that the bear was cowering in terror?
Yeah. Rob, there's only 2 paragraphs left. So thankfully, they do deal with why the mother bear was shot. And remember, of course, the baby bears have been taken to a prison camp, effectively, for bears.
Right.
Wildlife officials said the bear was put down because it was overweight, indicating that it had likely been eating leftovers and trash. So it's a fat bear, Rob, gorging on
so
chicken bones.
I don't understand, Alex. Why couldn't they just taken it to this rehabilitation centre, this wildlife
put it on a
centre,
treadmill,
and maybe just improved its diet? Maybe
put it on a treadmill.
Why did they need to shoot it?
I love the idea of strapping a bear to a treadmill. No, I mean, I don't love it because that makes me sound like some sort of sadistic torture. I wouldn't actually do that, but I mean, it's an enduring image. I feel there's a lot of imagery in this story for Faces Strange to take advantage of. Washington hasn't had a fatal black bear attack since 1974. The Department of Fish and Wildlife said. Right. If that's the case, Rob, so that's nearly 40 years. Why are they shooting these bears on sight? It's very rare for a bear to ever kill anybody. But they have, Rob, recorded 19. They have recorded 19 encounters with humans, resulting in injuries, though, since 1970. Sorry, Rob. The point of this story is.
I was about to say. Well, I feel the reason that they haven't been any proper bear attacks is the fact that they just keep executing them. Gun to the head, point blank range, dead.
Yeah, you're right. That is one way to solve the problem.
Whether they're a nuisance or not, just a standard policy.
Yeah,
blanket policy, dead.
To be fair, though, Rob. I don't know. If it's your suburban street and you've got bears wandering down, I think you'd be probably happy if there was a shoot to kill policy.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. You're right. Yeah. Well, in my case, I just invite them in and then maybe sort of form a family with them.
Listeners, Rob was just telling me during that little break there that Lyra, his daughter, is crying somewhere in the house, and that if you do hear that on the mic, there isn't some sort of secret underground dungeon that Robin has in his house where people are sort of pleading for mercy. That is his daughter. But Rob, I'm surprised that you didn't, because you said it was going on and you were trying to not seem distracted. At what point are you going to go open the door and just bellow, "Keep it down"?
I'm trying to record a podcast. And can I also say, by the way, I'm not here by myself with Lyra. My wife is downstairs. She's not just crying, because she's injured herself, and I'm purely focused on delivering local news to the people.
Professionalism, Rob. Professionalism till the end. That's how it should
right,
be.
Alex.
Okay, Rob. Yeah. Anyway, do you have some stories for us?
Yes. Now, Alex, I wanted to. I sent this one to you first because obviously we have a rule in this podcast. There are certain things that we feel that can be sort of near the knuckle. So this is a story about a death.
But we should say, Rob, that the rules the rules take a bit of a hiatus on the Patreon episodes because they're paid for and they're behind a paywall. We feel that one we kind of just cover anything, but for this we have to be a bit more careful because it's free. Everybody can access it. It's on the Apple platform and other podcast platforms. It's not going to get taken down or be covering things in bad taste. But let bad taste run amok, Rob, on the Patreon.
Exactly, Alex. Yeah. But this one, I think well, look, you'll see that it's not. There's nothing, but I think particularly contentious about this story. But there is an element of humour in there, and not the death of anyone, but you'll see what I mean. Anyway, so this is from the Traitorous Guardian, from the 25th of October, by Oliver Holmes, and the headline is "World's Dirtiest Man Dies in Iran at 94, a few months after his first wash."
Is there a grading system when they say world's dirtiest man? Who has to create that? Surely, how long did you say it'd been since he hadn't had a wash?
It says a few months, so no, it's not. It's not that long. It could be worse.
He said he hadn't had a wash. No, Rob. It says he hasn't had a wash in 34 years or something.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, in the headline it says a few months. Oh no, sorry, he dies a few months after his first wash. You're right. So yeah. I'm just trying to scan the story. Where does it say?
It's in the headline.
No, it's not in the headline. World's Dirtiest Man dies in Iran at 94, a few months after his first wash.
Well, I remember seeing it somewhere. It's like he hadn't had a wash. Okay, whatever. Who cares? All I'm saying is who decides.
Good point. So look. An Iranian hermit nicknamed the world's dirtiest man for not taking a shower for more than half a century, there we go, has died at the age of 94, state media has reported.
So surely the world's dirtiest man is somebody who hasn't had a wash in 60 years.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Good point. I mean, what if there's a man who hasn't had a wash for 70 years? Then, obviously, he would be the world's dirtiest man. Why am I asking that question? Anyway, look. So the Iranian news agency reported that Amu Haji, an endearing nickname for an elderly person, died on Sunday in the village of Dija in the southern province of Fars. So Haji, covered in soot and living in a cinder block shack, was reported by local media not to have bathed with soap and water in more than 60 years. Villagers said he had experienced emotional setbacks in his youth that led him to refuse to wash.
So sorry, you need to read that again. I need to take this in. He did it say he's experienced emotional setbacks?
Yes, he apparently had experienced emotional setbacks in his youth that led to him to refuse to wash.
That is that's a kind of way of making it probably quite severe trauma sound very anodyne. Yeah, a few emotional setbacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think emotional setback is he didn't get his favourite toy at Christmas, for instance. Or maybe he didn't get into the university of his choosing. It sounds like it could be quite a significant life changing event. Unfortunately, we don't know what that is. So in 2014, the Tehran Times reported that Haji would eat roadkill, smoke a pipe filled with animal excrement, and believe that cleanliness will make him ill. Pictures showed him smoking multiple cigarettes.
He believed this would. Sorry, you're gonna have to start that again. He believed this would prevent him from getting ill. What did you say he did?
So he would eat roadkill, smoke a pipe filled with animal excrement, and believe that cleanliness would make him ill. So if he was clean, he thought that in some way might make him unwell. And
presumably he thought that dirt, and I can understand that because they say the more you're exposed to, bacteria, obviously the more then resistant you can become to it. But what's the smoking animal excrement and eating roadkill about? Why does he think that eating roadkill is better than eating, I don't know, chicken nice and not?
Alex, I think roadkill because he is a hermit, so I'm guessing he has no real source of income. What's
the smoking animal shit about then?
Well, Alex, everyone needs advice. Once you've tried it. I mean, Alex, I can't say I've ever smoked dog shit, but maybe I'm missing out. Well, what can I say? Do you think he had?
Oh God!
Do you think he had like a preferred animal excrement? And also, do you think like flavored tobacco that different excrement had different flavors? I suppose it depends on their diet, doesn't it? Really?
When I used to smoke cigarettes, some of those tasted bad.
Yeah.
Some of them, some of those. I never was a B&H. Jeez. Woo. But of course, I just want to say because I don't want to harm their reputation and I don't want to get sued by them. For some people, they really are the perfect and healthy choice.
It's always nice to have a bit of balance on the podcast. I'm not entirely sure why. We need to...
It's why they did the packaging in that sort of beigey gold that just look. It's just... Anyway, sorry.
I remember, I think my friend has just come back from the Canary Islands and brought back some obviously very cheap fags. And to this day, I can remember the name of them. They were called Elixir. It's when I used to occasionally have the odd cigarette or two. And I remember he offered me one of these, and it was the most disgusting thing I've ever smoked in my life. It was one of those where I literally couldn't finish it because the amount of tar and other things they put into it was just... I mean, it's called Elixir. It must have been irony. However, so also, yeah, and just to reiterate, photos, I don't know how many photos of him there were, but apparently there were photos showing him multiple cigarettes at once. So apparently he smoked a pipe with animal excrement and also cigarettes. So, he liked to balance it out.
So what age did this man live till?
94.
Fuck, this is what I mean. This whole...
Do you think we're doing something wrong?
Well, of course, he's just lived to 94 eating fucking roadkill, smoking animal excrement and smoking 6 cigarettes at once.
Yeah.
And not bathing.
No. Alex, he was living the life of Riley and lived to a ripe old age. We are literally doing something wrong. Look. But a few months ago, villagers had persuaded him to wash for the first time, the Irana reported. So after
then he died? Oh no!
So I hate to say it, but maybe he was onto something.
Yeah.
So after Haji's death, the unofficial record could go to a man who was also not bathed for most of his life. So apparently there was a man who this record will pass to.
Can I just say on that though, Robbie? I'm not sure it is just a coincidence. It might be connected because if you haven't washed in over half a decade, right?
Yeah.
Your body will have created a way of coping. You know, like in War of the Worlds, when the aliens arrive on the planet and then they suddenly die because they haven't been exposed to our diseases and bugs and everything.
Yeah. So
for him, I imagine that washing, I don't know, it could potentially strip away whatever
that natural resistance. Yeah, I think you could be right.
Yeah.
So look, this is a bit about the man who this unofficial record is going to pass to. 2009, the Hindustan Times reported that Kailashi Kalu Singh from a village outside the holy city of Varanasi had not washed for more than 30 years in an attempt to help end all the problems confronting the nation. He rejected water in favour of what he called a fire bath. Every evening, as villagers gathered, Kalu lights a bonfire, smokes marijuana, and stands on a leg praying to the Lord Shiva. So, each their own, Alex. Singh was reported to have said, it's just like using water to take a bath. Fire baths help all the germs and the infection in the body. What's
a fire bath? Sorry, what's a fire bath?
So a fire bath is his alternative to actually taking a bath. And as I said, Alex, he lights a bonfire, smokes some marijuana, and then stands on a leg praying to Lord Shiva. That's a fire bath, Alex.
Does he burn himself with the fire? Because that would be a way of cleaning, because it would just strip your skin off. Okay, Rob, you got another story for us there.
Yeah, after talking about the world's dirtiest man, we're going to go to another story which is just complete rubbish. And not saying that the guy was rubbish, by the way. I'm just saying that he surrounded himself with things of... Doesn't matter. Anyway, this is from the Wales Online. It's by Neil Shaw, who is the network content editor. No idea what that means. It's from the 28th of October. From, I've already said the Wales Online. But the headline is... Woman sees Freddy Krueger staring at her from inside her own home.
But Freddy Krueger is a fictional character. Was she watching Freddy Krueger on the television?
No, Alex. This is a terrifying encounter where she was outside her house and happened to see through a bathroom window.
Or should I put on some suitable music?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Chilling.
So, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
So, a terrified mum standing outside her house looked up to see what she thought was Freddy Krueger standing in her bathroom, pressing his claws up against the glass.
Hang on. What she thought was... We all think we see through... The other day I thought I saw somebody in the fucking house and it was a shadow.
Alex.
Right.
Okay. You're picking the story. We don't know this, but it could be that someone broke into our house dressed as Freddy Krueger, which would be terrifying.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So Lindsay Cash shrieked when she looked up from her back garden to discover the silhouette of 2 clawed hands and a face pressed up against her bathroom window.
That would freak me out, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it would. And also, she shared a picture as well, and it is terrifying. So the 42-year-old was on the phone as she stood outside, ending her phone call, took a quick snap and rushed back into her house. Lindsay raced up to her bathroom and she geared up to confront the sinister-looking figure. But the mother of two ended up in stitches when she recalled there was nothing evil lurking in her bathroom at all. Instead, she found that the Freddy Krueger-like claws were caused by shadows from her 2 spiky aloe vera plants. Lindsay said, I was in the back garden on the phone for 15 minutes. Towards the end of the phone call, I spotted the creepy figure.
Rob, we've talked about this before. We've been doing this podcast for a long time. I can't even remember how many years now we've been doing it. Is it 10?
2012, yeah, 10 years.
We've often speculated and wondered about the mechanism by which this ends up in the local paper.
Yes.
So basically, I think I see Freddy Krueger in my bathroom. It ends up being an aloe vera plant and a sponge. Right?
Yeah.
And I think, oh God, how silly was I? And I was outside in my back garden in sheer terror for 15 minutes. I know what I'll do. I'll ring, what paper's this?
This is the Wales Online. It seems very fitting.
I'll ring the Wales Online. So the hot desk rings, it's one man on the phone, probably, or woman. Hello, Wales Online. I've got a story for you. Great, what is it? I thought I saw Freddy Krueger in my bathroom. Right. Wow, amazing. What was it? An aloe vera plant and a sponge. Great, we'll run with it. Is that how it actually works?
Alex, I don't want to be...
We've never tested this out. We should have tried to get a story in the local paper over all these years to understand how this even works.
Alex, I don't want to cast aspersions on local news. But I mean, first of all, I don't know whether you need to look the story up because they've included a picture of Lindsay, which I would say dominates the article because it's such a large picture. Now,
okay, hang on.
So,
what do I have to tell? Give me something to type in, a few keywords.
So, I think woman, Freddy Krueger, maybe home should be enough. Maybe Wales Online, just for safety.
Woman sees Freddy Krueger staring at her. Right, let's move you to the side, Rob. Oh, hang on. They've got the picture of what she saw as well.
Yeah,
Do you have that?
when she ended the phone call,
it's clearly not Freddy Krueger. It's clearly to the silhouette of 2. Yeah, when she ended the phone call, she went out into the garden and took a picture. It's clearly. So if you imagine, listeners, there's a rectangular window. On the left-hand rectangular window, there's a silhouette of an aloe vera plant. On the right-hand, there's a silhouette of an aloe vera plant, and in the middle, there's something roundish, which could look like either an alien or Freddy Krueger's head and his hands up against the window, but it's clearly not.
It was a daughter
there like that.
It was a daughter removing her makeup, so there was a human head there, but that's what that is.
Right, and there's a huge picture of quite an attractive woman. Right, looks like she wants a bit of publicity, maybe. Right, okay, so that's what this is about. That picture is enormous, Rob.
But
when Rob says it's enormous, I've never seen a picture like this in local news. Because the picture, right, not only is it closer, so if you imagine it's a bit like a glamour shot, she's very dolled up and everything, but it's an incredibly long picture. It's like, do you know what it is? It's like it's been taken on a smartphone, a long portrait image, and they've just put the whole thing in. They haven't cropped it at all, Rob.
No, it's. I think the picture. I've been looking at the paragraphs. The paragraphs are almost as long as the picture is.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I hate to say it was a slow news day, but look, I don't feel that we need to go into the story in any more depth.
Well, in which case, Rob, before we get to our listener story, would you be comfortable hearing a story by way of Japan from the Sora News 24 news outlet?
For a second there, Alex, I thought you were about to say from the oh God, what was it called?
The Tokyo Reporter.
Thank
Home
you.
of Salacious
Yes, no, I thought
News.
you were.
No, it's not that.
Shame.
No, this is by Casey Basile from the 29th of October. Teacher in Japan politely asks to use convenience store bathroom to jerk off. Gets arrested.
that feels right to me. Yeah.
In Japan, there's a bit of a manners debate about using convenience store restrooms. Some people think it's proper to ask permission from the staff first, and many stores have signs asking customers to do so. On the other hand, the bathrooms don't require a key to access, so permission is pretty much always granted, and some customers feel embarrassed announcing to a stranger that they need to go to the bathroom. 28-year-old Atsushi Awao appears to be in the you should ask first camp, which ordinarily would be a sign of courteousness on his part. However, the specific question he posed to a female convenience store clerk in Fukuoka City was far from an example of eloquent etiquette, as he asked, I want to masturbate, would it be alright if I use the restroom? We've all been there, Rob, you know.
Alex, do you know what? I appreciate the fact that, yes, it's that's quite an obscene question to ask, but at least he was being honest.
Yeah. In a further example of Awayo's odd mix of thoughtfulness and classlessness, can I just say an odd mix of thoughtfulness and classlessness is a very good episode title.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely is.
And might be the first episode title we've had from a Japanese publication.
Very true.
Would be the first, Rob.
Very true.
He asked the question so in a further example of his odd mix of thoughtfulness and classlessness, he asked the question while purchasing a pack of condoms, suggesting he was planning to keep the mess to a minimum.
Oh, good for him.
So you want, yeah.
I think it's
likely it'd be giving it.
Well, I think it's referred to as a posh wank. I think that's how the kids used to refer to it.
Well, he did ask for. He didn't just purchase condoms, but he also purchased a pack of hot fudge. Likely,
well, that's after. Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. The request was, of course, denied, as was an identical one Awayo made on a separate date within the same month. So he's been touring these places asking, can I have a wank?
Right.
Both incidents took place. The cry for help,
it's a
quite
wanking
clearly.
tour. I said, no, Alex, it's a wanking tour. What's wrong with that? You may as well see the world and enjoy yourself at the same time.
I've done it. I remember Oxford Street, the entire length I did, Rob, in one day. Both incidents took place in October 2021, but this week police officers were able to identify Awayo and placed him under arrest for obscene conduct, likely long after he'd assumed he'd gotten away with it for good. Awayo, a middle school social studies teacher, was also suspected of obscene conduct of an unannounced nature in Fukuoka drugstore in December 2021 and has admitted to all three incidents, saying, in quotes, there is no mistake in regards to the accusation. So he owns up to it, Rob. Odds are his arrest won't do anything to sway the convenience store owners elsewhere in Japan who are being asked to let their store restrooms be used as public toilets for non-customers as well. And just so you know, there is a related... let me just read, Rob. You know, like how underneath stories they have related stories and headlines?
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea of what's going on Sora News 24. I'll kill you, says Japanese schoolgirl when convenience store won't let her use restroom. Japanese city's plan to make convenience store restrooms public restrooms stinks, owners think. Man arrested for trying to kill a convenience store owner over a cup of coffee. And finally, man arrested in Japan after walking around a supermarket in a monkey mask.
Right. I love Japan. I really do.
Okay, Rob, it is time for our listener story of the week. Who's it from?
So he's already been mentioned on this podcast. This is from Faeces Strange.
Is it? Okay,
yes.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. Faeces Strange. I'm going to do something right now just to honour you. To honour you and your contributions to this podcast.
I'm really... Oh. Sadly, Alex, I don't know why, but your earbuds decided to completely cut out there, so I didn't get a single note of that, which is in some ways a blessing. I look forward to hearing that on the podcast, though.
Yeah, it'll blow your mind. Right, go on then. Faeces Strange. Thank you, Faeces Strange. Again, I know this is going to be a quality story. So
this is from the Yorkshire Live. Now, Alex, I'm going to have to make a small confession. You may have seen me giggling at your last story. It wasn't actually the content of the story. It was the pictures from this particular story, which I
give me the headline. Give me the headline. No, I'll bring it up, but I won't look at the pictures till you tell me.
So look,
I promise.
Let me lay the land first. So this is from the Yorkshire Live. It is by Jade Colver and Andrew Robinson from the 13th of May. The headline is, man said he's been abducted by aliens at least 60 times from age 16 where he lived in Bradford. So yeah, I would maybe alien abduction, Bradford, 60 times.
No, I've got it. Okay, I've opened it. Examiner, is it the Examiner Live? Right.
Do not scroll down.
Okay. I've put it away. Okay. This is not John Mooner.
This is not John Mooner. He said that this was in the absence of John Mooner, but this is a great story. Right, so a man from Yorkshire has spoken about his encounters with alien species over several decades. So Ross Kellett, 58, a former Bradford businessman who lives in Filey, North Yorkshire, has documented several incidents over many years where he says he was taken away by alien race in order to take part in an intergalactic type war.
Hang on, what's an intergalactic type war?
Well,
why is it not intergalactic war? What does it mean? It's like an intergalactic war, but it isn't.
I don't know, Alex. I don't know. I can't.
What a life, though. Extraordinary. But what if he has, Rob? What if he has?
Well, true, Alex. He may well have done. Yeah, we look. There's more. There is a lot more to get into. So his incredible claims include seeing alien creatures, even spotting Robbie Williams aboard an alien spacecraft.
Sorry. Robbie Williams or Robin Williams?
No, Robbie Williams, because obviously Robbie Williams is very open about his beliefs in UFOs. Apparently,
is he?
Mr. Kellett spotted Robbie aboard one of these spacecrafts.
Does Robbie Williams claim to have been on board a spacecraft?
I don't know, but he is very much into this. I think he has said that in the past.
Right.
So Mr. Kellett believes he underwent medical procedures at the hands of a race of very tall invaders. He told the Daily Star. He revealed
medical procedures.
Yes, medical procedures. Yeah.
Right. Are we gonna be going down the cliched sorts of anal probe?
Not the hot fudge route. No. So he revealed he'd been abducted at least 60 times. The first time was when he was 16 and travelling home on his motorbike. During that close encounter, he says he went through a tunnel and ended up in the room that resembled a dental surgery with 15 feet tall aliens.
That's just tall.
He described them as looking like Dracula, but without sharp teeth. Alex,
Sorry, but hang on, Rob, shut up. Dracula without sharp teeth is just a man.
It's just a guy, Alex, just a tall guy.
Does he mean he was wearing one of those Dracula capes? What does he mean?
I don't know.
He spoke like this.
So this is the point where I should just say he is a UFO investigator. Again, what coincidence?
But hang on, no. You got that the wrong way round, Rob. No, I'm going to stand. I'm genuinely standing up from here. If he'd had those experiences since 16 years old, he would have become a UFO investigator.
Yeah,
so would
okay.
you.
Yeah,
so would any
fair.
of us.
That's a good point. Okay,
so take that back. Yeah.
So the long-standing UFO investigator said, "I had some sort of tube pushed down my throat, and whatever liquid they pumped into me, it turned me into one of their super soldiers."
So he grew to 15 feet, did he? Is he all right? What did you say his job used to be?
Now you're a businessman, Alex. Now,
I'd like to know. Okay,
Alex. At this point, now please, you have to follow my instructions very carefully. Could you please scroll down to the first hand-drawn picture, please?
Right. So I need to be clear. The website here that I've got is called The Examiner Live. Right. So I've scrolled down and I can see a picture of Ross Kellett, who's a fairly mean, moody-looking individual. He's wearing a sort of beanie hat.
He looks like
He's standing.
He looks like Ross Kemp if Ross Kemp let himself go.
Yes, I was about to say the exact same thing. Right, he's got a bit of chubby, around that chin, and he's standing in a field like the Yorkshire Moors, I guess, pointing to presumably show. Can I see the next picture?
Could you scroll down? I need to scroll down to the first because there's more than one. The first hand-drawn picture, which I'm hoping is the same as Yorkshire Live, which I think it is the same.
So I think the Examiner Live is the name for the Yorkshire.
Yes,
Live.
it is. It's the same website. Yeah.
Sorry. So is this his drawing of what the alien looks like?
Yes, this is his drawing of the alien, Alex. Could you describe?
First of all, they don't look like. It doesn't look like Dracula. They're bald. The first thing I should say is they seem to be wearing a top with a lightning strike logo on it.
Yes,
which would be very strange. They're bald with they look like sort of a member of the band Kiss because it looks like they've sort of got eye makeup on and lip liner.
Alex, it just looks like a man.
I don't think he's been abducted by. It looks like a human. I should say that. Is this like? I just have this image of a guy, Rob, who's doing things late at night in the Yorkshire area that maybe he shouldn't be doing or he feels guilty about doing, and with other men, And his explanation, and his only way that his brain can process it, because he's in such denial over it, to say he's being abducted by aliens or something like that.
Alex, how could you misconstrue the sentence? I had some sort of tube pushed down my throat, and whatever liquid they pumped into me turned into one of their super soldiers. What homoerotic inference could you take from that? Right, Alex, there's a bit more on the aliens which I feel that you need to know. So for the past 30 years, I've been part of an army fighting the opposing race, the Dragos, which are tall and scaly with heads like dragons. I've been gone for years and people didn't realise. As 4 hours here is 4 years on one of the planets I've been to. Mr. Kellett says he's fought battles across the UK, Europe and South America, and in battles for territory in space. He made sketches of several of the aliens he's encountered.
Sorry. I thought these were battles off on other planets, so how are they happening here? And why wouldn't we have known about them?
Again, I haven't got an answer to that question, unfortunately, Alex. But yeah, apparently they are felt on human territory. Apparently they're already... So apparently in this version of events, they've already scaled, or at least... invaded the Earth and are then sort of fighting this other race who have also invaded Earth over potential territory. I don't know.
I feel like the other race would win against these bozos. This guy looks like this bald guy. They're not dead. Look at them. If they're up against this race of dragon-headed things, aren't the dragon-headed things with the scales going to win? These guys haven't even got any armour. They've just got a jumpsuit on with an electricity bolt on the front.
Okay, like a bad Flash Gordon character. Look,
yeah.
So he then goes on to say, and there's quite a lot to the story, but I'm going to try and sort of paraphrase since we get the most salient points. Now he's going to talk about his first encounter when he was 4 and living in Bradford. He said he was walking in his garden. I could not believe it. So he claims to have seen a man wearing something resembling a spacesuit and helmet in the backyard of his house. There was a silver object next to it, which I thought was a dustbin. I walked behind this silver object, and the next thing it juddered and went up. I thought, what the heck was that? He added that he didn't tell anyone, but is now revealed on a new book, which is called Russell Kellett's is E.T. Rider. So
E.T. Rider, I mean... So he rides ETs. That's what they get up to, is it?
Apparently.
Rob, I'm scrolling down. I want to see the rest of these pictures.
Right. Okay. Are you prepared for the next one?
There's a picture of him on riding a motorbike.
Yeah, no. Below that.
Oh my dear fucking God. Sorry. Okay. He's like drawing the muscles on that, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I'm now looking at a picture of an incredibly tall, what looks like a minotaur would be the right word, wasn't it?
I would say it's definitely a minotaur.
So if you imagine... If you imagine a bare-chested humanoid type figure wearing a sort of skirt, like a Roman sort of skirt, but it's got the head of a bull and he's holding a staff, and then next to him, I assume is him wearing like fatigues,
like a
camouflage fatigues, holding a machine gun.
Yeah. Also, I find it bizarre that this is supposed to be quite an advanced alien race, but apparently their weapon of choice is a staff.
Yes. This man just has a vivid... Oh, I'm looking at his book, Rob. I'm looking at his book.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It's E.T. Rider. And there's a picture of him on the motorbike. God, I'd love to read what that says on the back, but you can't read it.
Yeah, you can't read it, unfortunately. I mean, I'm sure it's probably on Amazon or Alex, I'm slightly... Because on the front page, obviously, he's got various different UFOs. There's one that looks like, I hate to say it, a suppository.
This is what I mean, Rob. I think we've figured this out. I like the fact it says a journalist told me that what I've told him is like a movie. However, he says that what's happened to him was like living in hell and a nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, his books are available via Amazon. So if anyone does want to, he's actually got 2 books.
Weren't we going to buy John Mooner's book?
We were.
That we should do.
We should do along with this guy who
along with this
is clearly...
Oh God, Rob, do you know what we should? We should make an investment and we can cover it like on the Patreon, I think. Can I just say, Rob, he says some people in the UFO community are only out to make cash and have a my dad's bigger than your dad mentality, but I would rather get my truth out there rather than other people's lies. And a blurb for the book, Rob, describes it as one man's account of countless close encounters with alien craft and abductions by an alien race. taken by a group of aliens and put into a military unit, trained to fight as a super soldier against their enemies on this planet and on many others in our universe, coming to terms with memories of an alien planet and fighting different alien races as well as human races on Earth. He's not much of a writer, is he? I mean, it's not great.
I'm actually on Amazon now, Alex. So if you want to buy the book...
We could probably get the Kindle for about £1, couldn't we?
It's free on Kindle. If you have a Prime subscription, the paperback is $14.99.
So I can download. I'll download us the Kindle version then.
Great. Okay. Do you want to hear? There's only 2 reviews, but there is a 5-star review, which I suspect there's no name on the 5-star review, but I'm guessing it's him. So I like the honesty of Russell Kennett's writing, reflections of his life and effects of his experience. Which are effective his mental health and physical health, so that's nice to know. He's a down-to-earth writer. Credit him for continuing with his investigations. His account of his forced interaction with non-humans should at least provoke people's interest. So, yeah, maybe worth reading out.
What about the other review?
It's a 1-star. They didn't actually. It's not. They didn't actually leave a written review.
That's the honest one. Well, are we going to read the comments because they're pretty good here?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Do you want me to go through them? I've just got a few here.
I've seen the one from Dave Watts, 1978. The funny farms full. Yeah.
Wow, take me to your dealer. Seriously, need to leave those mushrooms alone.
Bob Darth says, is he licking frogs?
Head gone.
Tricky 67 very randomly said he should be the manager of Luton Town. Don't know what that's in reference to.
Marbella says he's probably suffering from psychosis, which is when you hear and see things that aren't there and have hallucinations. Yeah. On that note, Rob, we bring this episode of LA Podcast to a close. We look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation. I don't do that anymore. Get trepidation, so I don't know why I'm doing it now. For our next episode, which is going to be 375.
Yes.
Of the regular LA, but I think it's episode 35. 34 or 35. I can't remember which, of LA Podcast and Extra Jab, which is on the Patreon. So you go to Patreon, patreon.com/LA Podcast Extra. And from there you can sign up to get all of those bonus episodes, all that extra content, cheer inbox every month. We'd love to have you over there. And we can be found on our website, LAPodcast.net. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LA Podcast. There's a forum there. There's the Face the Strange album with all the creations he's made for us there. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere. You know where to find us. Just hit subscribe, leave us a review, tell your friends, do all that good stuff. And now, of course, listen out for the teaser you're going to hear at the end of this episode for the next LA Podcast, An Extra Jab. God bless.
And keep it local.
Local Anesthetic Podcast is on Patreon, so go to patreon.com/LA Podcast Extra for access to our exclusive bonus episodes. You won't find them anywhere else. Here's a preview of what's coming up on the next LA Podcast, An Extra Jab. Elephant-sized demon cat is said to appear at the US Capitol before national emergencies, according to reports as far back as 1862.
Okay.
Paw prints and the initials DC appeared in the concrete poured to repair the small Senate rotunda, and DC, Rob, is speculated to mean demon cat.
It wouldn't just mean District of Columbia by any chance.
What?
Alex, I hate to just point that out. But also, did it say how big these paw prints were? Because if it was the size of an elephant, they must have been quite sizable.
No, they were just normal-sized paw prints.
Right. Okay. A crappiest playground in Cornwall is an embarrassment, according to Marizian counsellors.
Kids are all playing computer games now, Rob. They don't go and play. Who uses a playground?
I mean, I do. Not me, obviously. My daughter uses it. Yeah, I'm there as well.
No, but Rob, you shouldn't be taking her to the playground. You should be hooking her up to computer game consoles, possibly VR headsets, to get her prepared for the future, Rob.
Alex, I've tried. She's not interested. Okay, the number of times I've tried to sit her down in front of my Switch, she just doesn't give a shit. But that's a different matter.
Well, you're a good dad. I'm pleased to hear it.
Thanks.
Giant rabbits, in quotes, bred for meat, looking for new homes after Northumberland rescue.
Okay.
I'm having I'm having foie gras for lunch.
Right. I wouldn't worry about it.
It's just goose, Rob.
Yeah, exactly, Alex. It's a well-fed goose. That's all you need to worry about.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we want? A starved goose?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people would be up in arms, wouldn't they? If it was a starved goose that was being deliberately starved and then
Emaciated goose.
yeah, which is a good name for a band.